in the beginning, there was the light. What was there in the beginning?
Fire.
Well, fire, or the word, or the law firm. So for about the first 60 years of big law's existence, there was no such thing as corporate counsel and in-house counsel. Instead, we only had law firms. In fact, often you only had one law firm. That is, corporations sole sourced their work to a single law firm who would charge them one amount every year for services rendered. And this worked in a way for a time. And to this day, law firms are very good at what they were originally built to do. And they make a fair amount of money doing it. Not just law firms, but the lawyers within them are doing okay. Some of them better than they ever have. And yet, it's actually gotten a lot harder out there. Most people who have the name partner are partnered in name only and are making far less money than what we all think of as partners at law firms. Now, it's really easy to game a lot of law firm numbers. The hardest one to gain is this one, revenue per lawyer, and so it's very telling as to how a firm's doing for a wide variety of reasons. And so it's one of the most important to track over time, which I do. This is the AmLaw 100. The American Lawyer publishes the financials of the 100 and also the 200 largest firms in the United States, but about 90 of them are the largest firms in the world. That is when they publish the Global 100. 90 of them are also in the AmLaw 100. Hogan Lovells is in both. So I'm going to tell you a secret. And the secret was, it used to be, if you wanted to be a lawyer and make more money, all you had to do was join a good firm and then not die. That has changed dramatically, and that change has been persistent, 2007 being the major inflection point. Law firms haven't gone anywhere, but life has gotten much more challenging than it used to be. They're still amazing at the cream work, but this core and commodity work, well, almost no one's good at it. And that includes them. And yet it still has to be done. And so law firms used to make more and more and more money in an unprecedented manner, and now not so much. So where did the money go? It's an actual question. Anyone can scream out the answer if they'd like. It moved in-house. Sorry, the best data on this does come from the US. Since the middle of the 1990s, in-house departments have grown at 7 times the rate of law firms. There are now more in-house counsel in the United States than there are lawyers in the domestic offices of the AmLaw 200. That is the largest 200 law firms by revenue. In fact, not only are corporate counsel the largest segment of suppliers of legal services to business, in the United States, they're actually the largest buyer of all legal services, period. That is, 52% of all legal services purchased in the United States are purchased by a corporation with one or more in-house counsel. The locus of authority and money has moved internally. And yet, I already told you, almost no one's good at this. And that includes in-house counsel, who live a very fraught existence, running faster and faster, simply to fall behind more slowly. In fact, every survey we have says that in-house lawyers are just as burned out as their law firm compatriots. They're overwhelmed by complexities. They're looking for an exit hatch because everyone wants more and more, faster and faster. Good example of this, global data has absolutely exploded. This creates complexity in and of itself. At least 30% of that data is related to entity management. And yet, there's more complexity, right? It's not just the data, because the data explodes, and that's a complexity in and of itself. But then, what do we try and do, especially here in Germany and the EU? If it moves, regulate it. And so the new complexity brings new complexities in the forms of new law. And so these complexities compound. In fact, this is a study that was done across the US and Germany, and you see the exact same dynamic, which is that the number of regulations, administrative rules, statutes, they go up and up and up over time instead of down, which is very consistent with our own lived experience. But complexity has an important characteristic in that it compounds. Again, it intersects with reality, more data plus data protection laws, and then these laws intersect with each other, especially as you start to go across jurisdictions. They sometimes interact, they sometimes conflict. And so what do corporations do in response to this? They add more people. They start putting people on different teams that have legal-like functions. This isn't to say that everyone in privacy or compliance should report to legal. It's to say that we're working in the same general area, and simply adding teams does nothing but increase this complexity. It adds to friction inside an organization, and it slows down decision-making. And that is one of our biggest issues. We cannot keep up with the pace of business. That is the scale challenge. And again, almost no one's good at it. The Gordian knot of in-house existence is that rising demand pairs with flat resources, very short time horizons, and often accountability without authority. That's internal accountability. If all of a sudden you get sued or the CEO decides to pursue an M&A, that's new work for the law department, whether they wanted it or not. Same thing is true when the regulators decide to regulate. There's really nothing the law department can do except respond, and that means that there is more work. There's a whole snowball effect, and everybody is looking for a lifeline, and here it comes, right? GenAI. And you have to understand that this is a real need. That is, we need to solve for scale. We need better business outcomes from fewer legal inputs, at least on a relative basis. And so normally when I hear AI in my head, I just substitute automation. GenAI has made more forms of automation more accessible more quickly. But this really is about automation, to which there are many different levels. You don't have to completely automate something to get benefits of that automation. But in order to function, you will need to automate some things, and it's going to have to be more and more things going forward. Except we want that lifeline, but when you talk to corporate counsel, they were really excited in the beginning, and they're way less excited now about what GenAI might do for them. Yet we go back and forth. It's not going to be transformative, and yet 95% of us think it's about to become central to our workflow. This is completely understandable. We are absolutely caught up in a hype cycle. But here's the thing. You never have a technological inflection point without hype. You can have hype without a technological inflection point. But the second you have an inflection point, you're going to have all kinds of hype. And so is AI overrated or underrated? Anyone want to tell me the answer? The answer is yes. Look, it's amazing. We've now gotten to the place with words where computers got to with numbers, and that opens up a brand new world of possibilities. But it is in fact a new world. We are extremely early days, and one of the things that we keep learning is that AI is weird. The best study on this, it's the best study of the use of AI for knowledge workers. It comes out of Harvard. 756 Boston Consulting Group consultants were armed with AI. Others weren't. They were given 18 knowledge-intensive tasks, told to use the AI on them. And what the research showed, measuring the quality and speed of outputs, is that AI falls along a jagged frontier. That is, inside the frontier, AI is very helpful. Outside of the frontier, not so much. In fact, AI can hurt you. Here's the really annoying thing. Not only is the frontier jagged, it is invisible and non-intuitive, meaning neither the researchers nor the consultants could accurately predict, even after they'd done the work, where the AI would and would not be helpful. It was only until they did the analysis that they were able to figure out what falls inside and outside the frontier. Now, inside the frontier, there is a material increase in productivity, quality, and speed. And in particular, AI is a great leveler. It brings low performers up to a much higher level than they would achieve on their own. But that's only inside the frontier. Outside the frontier, it makes you worse. And the thing is, you don't know you're outside the frontier, which I said is very annoying. AI is not necessarily good at what we want it to be good at. Or to put it in a lawyer way, AI is currently best at the wrong things. That is, it's very good at open-ended problems and very bad at giving us deterministic answers, which is, of course, what we want. You've heard all about hallucinations. You've heard all about very dumb lawyers who ask ChatGPT to write their brief, but that's okay. Someone already did that. We skewered them, and then we learned our lesson, right? Or not. But of course, it's not just lawyers. Spoiler warning, a lot of mistakes are about to be made, and this isn't just by the companies producing these models. It's going to be about all kinds of companies trying to integrate this tech into what they do, creating more and more headaches for lawyers, including encouraging people to break the law. Doesn't matter how big or bad your company is, it's going to make mistakes, and yet we're going to put money into it anyway. A lot of money. As I said, we are early days. We're barely spending anything on GenAI right now, but it's only going to go up and up and up. You saw the hit the stock market took because the AI stocks wobbled a little bit. So much of the stock market is tied to AI because so much of our conception of where future value is going to be created is in AI. And we're, of course, going to be wildly wrong, but also directionally correct, because AI is yet another in a series of technological supercycles that compound. That is, these supercycles build on top of one another so they move faster and have a greater impact than the ones that came before. This AI is the worst AI we will ever have, and the best predictions are that it's going to touch at least 80% of the corporate legal wallet. Good news for the folks at Hogan, that cream work, still mostly going to come to you. We're going to need you. Good news for Fides, that commodity work needs to be largely automated and has to be done not by people, but by machines. General counsel know this. They're concerned that their department's not going to have the resources, and so 96% of them say that they're going to update their budgeting practices to invest in AI. That's what happens when you talk to the GCs. When you talk to the legal operations person, under them, 99% say there's a lot of barriers to running AI and that their department isn't ready yet. Well, it's a question of what is or isn't ready, because what those people in the department want are easy buttons. And there are not very many of these. Why? Because as I said, AI is weird. This is what most people want to happen with most projects. You buy the technology, and then things get better, right? We bought it, and then there are tangible benefits. But even the best technology out there, and Fides is a great example, will tell you you have to do a little bit of work up front so that the technology works for you. People don't like going through this implementation dip. Again, the reason they want the technology is because they're already busy. And so asking them to do more work is a very challenging thing. And in fact, most projects fail. Most people refuse to go through the implementation dip and do what needs to be done to see the benefits. Instead, what we get a lot of places, and this isn't just law departments, not just law firms, it's every company, is all kinds of innovation theater. This is a very depressing slide. It's that same J-curve produced by the law department that I believe, and I have pretty good insight into this, is the furthest advanced in the application of GenAI to legal work. I host invite-only events where I curate both the speakers and the audience, where we have closed-door sessions, Chatham House rule, so people can share what they're really doing. I was given permission to share this. This is a law department that had early access to GPT-4. They had full CLO support. They had the support of their own data science team. This is a very large corporation. They had very sophisticated people working on this, both in the law department side and the data science side and the technology side. This is the chart they showed. 1 year into their journey, where do you think they were? They could see the ROI coming and they have now realized it, but 1 year in, they are the best of the best that I've seen, and I've seen a lot. 1 year in, they still didn't have positive ROI. And yet the rest of us are out here being told that we have to innovate now. This is a completely unfair innovation imperative. It's unfair, but that doesn't make it any less real. Now, I know lawyers, they put their thumb on the scale of perfection over progress. Can you tell me it's 100% accurate, 100% automated, and make me 100% comfortable? No. But I can tell you that this genie is not going back in the bottle. And so this is a terrible strategy, even if this is a completely reasonable reaction. Because there is so much noise out there in the market, and it's really hard to cut through that noise, to find a way to merge this emerging technological world with the realities of the legal world. Some of the folks who are going to figure it out first will, in fact, be those law firms. Like I said, they're still good at what they were originally built to do. In fact, if you are an in-house lawyer, have you ever complained about rates increasing? Yes, no, maybe. So at least in the US, there are a lot of complaints about this, and it surprises most in-house counsel to learn that law firms' spend on technology is increasing faster than their rates. And it's not just that they're increasing spend on tech. Some of them, very few of them, are doing very creative things to approach tech differently. Because that law firm model I showed you, it's still great for that cream work. It's going to persist. It's going to continue to be profitable. But there's lots of other work out there that it's not optimized for. And law firms like Hogan are finding different ways to help their clients with that other work, to help their clients through this journey to figure out how to solve for scale, because those clients do feel like they're running twice as fast to simply fall behind more slowly. GenAI is going to create more legal work in all kinds of form or fashion. And it really is important to talk about how we as lawyers are going to make use of this tech. But if that's all we focus on, we're going to miss what's really going on, which the big question is, how is it going to be used by the companies that we work for? Remember how complexity compounds? Now we have this new flood of tech. So what are we also going to have? A new flood of laws and regulations. They're going to come from all over the place. They're going to say all kinds of different things. Some of them are going to be slightly odd. And we are going to have whiplash trying to keep track of them, because there's this regulation and then there isn't. There's this executive order and then there isn't. There's this kind of foolishness, and yet there's also massive, massive investment from all over the place. And because of this investment, we're going to move faster and faster away from the worst AI we've ever had. This is unprecedented. We've never seen anything move this fast. And it moving this fast makes us feel like we're moving so slow. That is on a relative basis, because there's been so much talk and so much progress, but we don't feel it in our daily lives. We actually feel the slow pace more often than we feel the fast pace. That is, expectations are increasing their permanent lead on reality. And yet, we know that our reality is normally a wall of no. That wall's coming down in ways that we've never seen before. That doesn't mean that I'm up here telling you that we're about to live in utopia. In fact, I will tell you that things are going to get worse before they get better. 2023 was the year of efficiency. So we turn the page to 2024, the year of cost cuts. to bring us to 2025, the year of cost management. I don't think that large corporations are going to figure out great use cases for AI and then fire people when they can plug the AI in. I think they're going to do the opposite. I think we're going to have layoffs, and then the people who are left are going to have to figure out how to use the AI to fill the gaps. This is one of those millions of studies about CEOs wanting to fund major AI initiatives. The uninteresting finding is that 100% of them plan significant investments in AI. The more interesting finding is that 2/3 of them plan to fund those investments by rating existing budgets. We'd like to have linear progress, but that's not how this journey is going to look, and it's certainly not how it's going to feel. It's going to be an absolute mess, but it's probably going to be interesting, if nothing else. Again, we're moving at unprecedented speed, and speed breeds stumbles. And yet, this is one of those times where moving fast and stumbling is still better than standing still. QR code on the upper left is going to be a content library I have that contains the primary sources for every one of those slides. And the answer is there was 121 of them. That is my contact information. I was told only to do 15 minutes. I actually have about 15 hours of that. I do. I come here every summer and teach an executive education course. It's about 15 hours, and yes, I'd have that many slides per minute. I'm happy to open up to questions. I'm happy to stop monologuing, or I can just keep going. Your choice.